The man standing at the front desk looked exhausted, not weak, not defeated, just tired in the way only a single father can be. A little girl slept peacefully on his shoulder, her tiny hand wrapped around a worn teddy bear. In his other hand, he held a bouquet of white lilies that had already begun to droop after hours of carrying them. Across the marble counter, the receptionist crossed her arms impatiently. "Sir, I already told you we don't rent rooms to people who can't provide a valid membership." The man looked at her calmly. "I don't want to rent a room." The receptionist sighed dramatically. "Then what exactly do you want?" The man glanced at the golden letters engraved on the desk, the Mason Grand. A faint smile appeared on his face. "I just want my room." The receptionist laughed. Several guests nearby turned around. "Your room?" She looked at his faded jacket, old boots, and the sleeping child on his shoulder. "This is a 5-star luxury hotel, and people like you don't belong here." The words hung heavily in the air. The little girl stirred in her sleep. The man gently adjusted the blanket around her shoulders before speaking. "Please lower your voice. My daughter has had a difficult day." The receptionist rolled her eyes. "And I've had a difficult shift." She pointed toward the glass doors. "You need to leave." The man didn't move. Instead, he looked around quietly. The grand chandeliers, the polished floors, the piano in the corner, every detail, every piece of furniture, every painting. His eyes softened, because 20 years ago, none of this existed. Back then, he was just a poor carpenter named Gabriel Hayes. He worked 2 jobs while his wife sold homemade bread. Together, they dreamed of opening a small inn, but life had other plans. His wife passed away while giving birth to their daughter, and Gabriel nearly gave up. Many nights he sat alone holding his newborn baby, crying silently because grief hurt more than poverty ever could. But then he made a promise to his wife and to the tiny girl sleeping in his arms. "I will build something beautiful for her." Years passed. He worked endlessly, saved every penny, invested carefully, expanded slowly, and eventually that small inn became the Mason Grand, one of the most respected luxury hotels in the city. But Gabriel never cared about luxury. He preferred simple clothes, simple meals, and spending time with his daughter, which was why no employee recognized him. "Security." The receptionist's voice snapped through the lobby. 2 guards approached. Guests began whispering. One woman shook her head. "Poor man." Another whispered, "He should have known this place was out of his league." Gabriel remained silent because his daughter suddenly tightened her arms around him. "Daddy." Her sleepy voice cracked softly. "Why are they angry at you?" Gabriel smiled gently. "They're not angry, sweetheart. They just don't know me yet." The receptionist scoffed. "Enough. Take him outside." The guard stepped forward nervously, but before they could touch him, the elevator doors opened. A silver-haired elderly man rushed into the lobby, the hotel's general manager. His face immediately turned pale because he recognized Gabriel instantly. "Oh dear God." Everyone froze. The old manager hurried toward him. Then, to the complete shock of the lobby, he bowed deeply. "Mr. Hayes." The receptionist blinked. "What?" Her voice barely came out. The manager looked furious. "Do you even know who this man is?" She shook her head. The manager's hands trembled. "He built this hotel." Silence. Complete silence. The bouquet slipped from the receptionist's hand. Guests gasped. The security guard stepped back immediately. Gabriel sighed softly. "Edward." The old manager lowered his head. "I'm so sorry." Gabriel shook his head. "No." Then he looked at the receptionist, a young woman, nervous, ashamed, terrified. Tears instantly filled her eyes. She couldn't continue, because only moments ago, she had humiliated the owner of the hotel, in front of everyone. But Gabriel wasn't looking at her anymore. His eyes had fallen on his daughter. She was awake now, looking confused. "Daddy." "Yes, sweetheart." "Why didn't you tell them you own this place?" The entire lobby waited for his answer. Gabriel smiled, because kindness shouldn't depend on who someone is. The receptionist burst into tears. Gabriel slowly walked toward the front desk. Not angry, not proud, just disappointed. "When I built this hotel," he touched the marble counter gently, "I wasn't building a palace. I was building a place where tired people could feel welcome." His voice became softer. "Because I know what it feels like to be poor. I know what it feels like to be judged. And I know what it feels like to carry a sleeping child while pretending you're not falling apart inside." Many guests lowered their eyes, because suddenly the man standing before them wasn't a billionaire. He was simply a father. A man who had suffered, loved, lost, and kept going anyway. The receptionist wiped her tears desperately. "I'm sorry." Gabriel looked at her quietly. "Why did you judge me?" She looked at his old jacket, then down at the floor. "Because I thought appearances told the truth." Gabriel nodded sadly. "And today you learned." He glanced at his daughter smiling beside him. "The richest people don't always wear expensive clothes." "Yeah." The manager turned to the receptionist. "You're fired." The lobby held its breath, but Gabriel immediately raised his hand. "No." Everyone looked surprised. The receptionist looked up, crying, confused. Gabriel smiled gently. "People deserve consequences." Then he paused. "But they also deserve a chance to become better." The receptionist covered her mouth and sobbed harder, because the man she humiliated was the first person to show her mercy. Gabriel picked up the bouquet of lilies that had fallen to the floor. His daughter took his hand, and together they walked toward the elevator. Not like owners, not like millionaires, but like a father and daughter who had survived heartbreak together. And as the elevator doors slowly closed, everyone in the lobby learned something far more valuable than luxury. True greatness isn't owning a grand hotel. It's building a heart so kind that even after being denied a room in your own hotel, you still choose compassion over revenge.